The Commission condemned the government's action of soliciting for support from East African community states, terming it as a move aimed at protecting political interests of the suspects and trampling on the victims' rights.
Since 2007 and also 2008, when the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights began to investigate the post-election violence, its key concern has been to ensure that victims of post-election violence receive substantive justice. Now, we are concerned that the actions of the government of Kenya, with backing from the East African Community Summit and the East African Legislative Assembly, remain focused on protecting the alleged perpetrators of the post-election violence, and that providing remedies for victims of the violence is not on their agenda.
Speaking on behalf of Knchr, Commissioner Mute also observed that the latest conviction of powerful personalities in Africa has caused anxiety among a section of the ruling elite, and hence the attempts to portray ICC in a bad light so as to gain political mileage.
With the conviction of Thomas Lubanga of the Democratic Republic of Congo by the ICC, and Charles Taylor, the former president of Liberia, by the Special Court for Sierra Leone. Now, this has caused a lot of disquiet amongst African leaders. And the current attempts against the ICC are a reinforcement of African leaders' perception of the ICC as a neo-colonial court which only targets Africans. So you can see that they are saying it that way, so then they can find an excuse.
The human rights body also cautioned the government not to waste time and resources on judicial bodies and institutions like the East African Legislative Assembly, East African Court of Justice, and AU that cannot challenge the admissibility of any case before the ICC since they are not listed parties to the Rome Statute.
That an institution such as East African Legislative Assembly cannot file an administrative challenge, and neither can the African Union, since they are not parties to the Rome Statute. Neither the judicial arms of the East African Legislative Assembly or the African Union as yet have jurisdiction over criminal conduct, let alone international crimes.
The human rights watchdog, whose mission is to enhance protection and promotion of human rights in Kenya through strategic programming and partnership, believes that if the Kenyan government, the East African Legislative Assembly and the AU is indeed genuine, then they should serve to complement the ICC and not place unnecessary roadblocks that seek to frustrate pursuit of justice to the victims of human rights abuse. Solomon Were, GBS News.